out of focus as we get this one started. Let me see if I can get things all focused and figured out. There we go. How you doing, everybody? It's your boy Wardy, and we're back at it with the latest Metropolitan postgame show as the Mets take down the Chicago Cubs in Game 2 of a 4-game set tonight by a final score of 4-2. And today's show, we'll get into everything that you guys and gals need to know from today's game, and ultimately, what were the biggest standouts? Yes, it was, of course, another offensive snooze fest between both sides, and pretty much what the Mets have been playing consistently for the past week. And you want to know what's also been consistent? One swing, one drive being the difference maker in a ball game in the series. It was Christopher Morel's turn yesterday against Edwin Diaz to win it, and today it's DJ Stewart's turn and a massive turn of events for the Mets to ultimately get this Game 2 victory out of this 4-game set. I purposely waited until the Knicks and Sixers game was concluded because I know that a lot of fans are far more concerned with that going on right now, rightfully so. For all my Knicks fans out there, how you doing? I know that tonight was a beyond frustrating loss. I'm happy to say I will be in attendance at Wells Fargo Center this Thursday for that Knicks-Sixers game. Your boy's going to be in the nosebleeds. I'm going to be battling it out with Philly fans. Bought the tickets as soon as the game ended today, so you guys can catch me there this Thursday. So do not expect an evening post-game coverage with me regarding the Mets this Thursday, just an FYI. Thankfully, it's a day game, so maybe we'll get a quick video out, even if it's not going to be in my usual setup, as you guys are kind of seeing right now. But we have a lot to get into, of course, from tonight's victory, but more than anything, to everyone first chiming in live on a replay. Heads up, the thumbnail says Cubs pregame. Thank you for that. I appreciate that note. Really does mean a lot. Let me make sure that I have the right thumbnail and tag then, because clearly that is not the right one. No, the thumbnail says postgame, my man, so I don't know what made you think it says pregame. I'm 99% sure it says postgame. Let me know if you guys and gals see anything different, but of course, I appreciate everyone first chiming in. Yoshima, thank you for the $2 holla. Finally, comfortable win. Finally. I wouldn't even say this is overly comfortable, but it was just nice to see again the Mets get the nice win. DJ Stewart with the bat flip. What a beauty that he was tonight. Again, we're not going to be long-winded in our coverage tonight. We're really just going to break down again everything that transpired at innings 1 through 9. Stephen A, how you doing? Happy to have you in here. Spam those W's, everybody. Again, if you're watching live and on replay, spam them in the comments down below. Spam them in the live chat right now. Oh, the title says pregame. I gotcha. Thank you for correcting me on that one. Appreciate it a lot, guys. Guys and gals, you all are the absolute best. My apologies. I thought you meant the thumbnail. And also, let me make sure that we are live and everything's set up here on Twitter as well. For everyone watching on Twitter, thank you all so much. Make sure to hit that like, that follow button, that retweet button. But know that I will only be interacting per usual with our live viewers here on YouTube. Let me get this all set up, everybody. Again, I usually go live sooner after the game, but a day like today where, again, it was a nice victory, but nothing overwhelming for one. And two, also what you saw there with the Mets, and not so much the Mets, but rather that Knicks game, had a lot of eyes, a lot of attention, justifiably so, rightfully so. So again, nice win for the Mets here. Bittersweet if you're a Mets and a Knicks fan after witnessing that game between the Knicks and the Sixers there. But I did want to make sure that game concluded, because I know a lot of you guys are not even going to be interested until that game is done with. AZ, thank you so much for the donation. AZ says, no all caps chat, but Mets with a solid victory, LGM. Yep, I'd say this was a solid dub. They got the pitching that they were looking for. The offense is still very Jekyll and Hyde, and they were one swing again in their favor, thankfully, on this one versus yesterday, but they just had to get the win. Again, they don't need to always be the prettiest wins, folks. They just need to get the job done. So everyone first chiming in, make sure to smash that like and subscribe button on your way in, as we're about to break down all the latest in Mets land, our latest post-game coverage. In case you're new, make sure to hit those buttons, because we come at you with the consistent coverage on all things Mets all season long, of course, off season long too. You guys know the drill. There's a reason why we're the largest Mets platform not directly affiliated with the Mets or SNY here on YouTube, and it's thanks to all you amazing Mets fans. I'm a Magic fan, so I know how y'all feel. Exactly. You certainly do to a degree. Dave, great member. How you doing? Happy to have you in here. Ant, how you doing? Just so you know, Dave, yes, we were definitely trying to make that May 11th game happen, so be on the lookout. Hopefully that will be the first game that will be hitting this season, which will be against the Braves. That's a big one. But before then, I will be hitting that Knicks game this Thursday that I mentioned. That's going to be absolutely wild. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully the Knicks favor. They can wrap it up at home, because at Philly basically is home the way us Knicks fans are turning up and showing up. But I appreciate the donations from everybody. Thank you all so much. Everybody too, you know what? Especially after Mr. Teddy Bear, as I've been loving to call him. Shout out to my girlfriend for the one who first came up with that. You know how much he looks like a teddy bear? He really does. We got Polar Bear at first base, and we had Teddy Bear starting in right field today, and DJ Stewart, and DJ made the most of said opportunity. That was a teddy bear home run against those Cubbies, funny enough. So let's spam also. Let's get some teddy bears there in the chat as well. Your parlay is winning all games. You'll love to see it. Oh, baby. I hope you guys tailed the pregame show parlay presented by our amazing sponsors at BetUS, who has you covered with all your sports betting needs. Make sure to check them out by clicking the link down below today. That way you too can sign up with a 125% bonus with your first, not one, not two, but first 3 deposits. Also, shout out to our separate sponsor, and Sorare MLB, as we're giving away Mets tickets, folks, to any games you want to go to this season, and winners will be announced May 6th, but a little bit more on that deeper into the show, so be on the lookout. We're going to break down how you guys can enter today for your chance at winning Mets tickets for you and a loved one, whoever you want to take. We're going to be picking 4 winners, 3 of which will receive tickets, and 1 of which will receive a $100 credit in the Sorare MLB game that you can then utilize to build your team, your best MLB fantasy game, best MLB fantasy team humanly possible with said dollars. So very excited to get into that too. I hate Tyrese so much. Thank you for the donation. I respect Tyrese Maxey. Trust me when I say that was a gut punch, but I don't hate Tyrese. He's a phenomenal talent. He is, again, the most improved player this year. It's unfortunate that he had to hit that 3 just after the halfway point there to tie the game. Or was it to tie? I think it was to tie the game. Yeah, with like 8 seconds left. Then, of course, the next one to overtime and lost, unfortunately. Appreciate the donation, though. Thank you so much for that, AZ. Really does mean a lot. And again, I'm excited. I'm really, really excited for that game 6 between the two teams. But yes, guys and gals, to share with you all briefly, before we break down the ball game, especially for my sports bettors here, folks, listen to said following, because I had a 4-pick parlay today, and so far it's looking good. I hammered the Twins money line over the Chicago White Sox. It's a tight one right now, but it is in the Twins' favor with bases loaded and 2 out there for Minnesota there in the top of the 8th. They're up 5-4. I have the Brewers money line over the Rays today. They're up 8-2 in the middle of the 8th. I also hammered 2 other games, one of which was the Baltimore Orioles run line today. They won. That hit. They won 4-2, so them winning outright was enough to get that done, which was awesome. And then we also see there was one more pick that I have. Let's see if that pick was already done with today. Let me double check here briefly. I talked again, or did I do 3 picks today or 4? I honestly don't recall. Let me go double check here. Make sure I have everything right. Again, appreciate everyone first chiming in, folks, as we're about to break down everything that transpired between the Mets and the Cubs tonight, as the Mets won this one. A nice, somewhat comfortable win, better than others. The Mets haven't done a lot of winning lately, so we're going to take these wins as they come. But before we get there, let's take a look at the pregame coverage today. Because in the pregame coverage, I did, in fact, have a 4-leg parlay. It was Phillies money line as well, and the Phillies, as they currently look against the Halos, they are up 3-0 in the bottom of the second. They were up early yesterday, ended up losing 6-5. So, again, there's still a lot of time, but for anyone that went the lengths of tailing my 4-pick parlay today, or even took 2 out of those 4 picks, you're in line to win right now. So, you're welcome in advance, and disregard all the bets we placed in the past for the Mets. Even say you threw $20 on that bad boy. That's some nice winning. So, wishing you all the best of luck to my fellow sports bettors there. But now let's break down here what happened in Mets land. Again, big victory for the Mets. They definitely need this. They stay afloat above 500 now with a 15-14 record. But before we get there, some key updates to share with you all that I emphasized in tonight's pregame show. Make sure to check out our pregame coverage that comes out consistently for you guys. But in the meantime, we have here Vientos was sent down as a transaction for Starling Marte to be activated from the bereavement list today. Vientos, and what was a bit of a surprise to me and some others as well, after the great little stint he had here with the Mets, rest assured Vientos will be back up with the Mets in just a matter of time. And Brett Beatty, got to give credit where credit's due. Beatty, of course, getting the start back at third base. The Mets continuing to show that he's the guy they're going to ride with for the time being at the hot corner. He had himself a nice day both at the plate and defensively too. So lots of positives to get into on that front. And you know how we're all frustrated with this guy by the name of Joey Wendell? Joey Wendell, famously known for not being good at the one thing the Mets signed him for, of course, defense and utility. Joey, of course, botched that double play ball instead of throwing a home to get the first runner out there that ultimately could have still won the Mets the ball game in the end. Yes, they need offense, but that was a piss poor defensive play for a guy coming in for Vientos later on to try to turn a double play and still, instead of forcing that out there at home, which he had time to do so. Joey Wendell's days might be ticking. They might be coming to an end because the Mets have signed, David Stearns has signed his former friend during their time with the Milwaukee Brewers, and Mike Brousseau. The 30-year-old infielder has played pretty much every position imaginable, from shortstop, third base, second base, first base. He's played literally everywhere. He's also pitched in 10 major league games, believe it or not, and he has just over a 2 ERA. So it's pretty funny. But Mike Brousseau, he's as versatile of a player as they come. He's going to be starting his stint there in AAA Syracuse. But rest assured, if Joey Wendell continues to labor, which again, he provides very little for you, I think it's a matter of when Joey Wendell's off this team this season, not a matter of if, with the way that he continues to be underwhelming. Again, if you are on this roster to be specifically a defensive replacement and you cannot do the simple task of playing competent defense when you come in later in the ball game, what good are you? There is nothing that you could pinpoint and say, hey, Joey Wendell, you're justified. You should stay on this roster. As a hitter, he hits opposite field plenty, which I'm not opposed. I love my oppo hitters, especially from the left side of the plate. But how many slap hitters do we need? We already have one in the lineup that didn't have a bad day at the plate today, but a guy where there's a lot of frustration, a lot of question marks with, because we're moving far and far away from the game of slap hitting and more to the game of, again, gap-to-gap home runs is what is going to make and drive you in today's baseball. And right now, what you're going to get with Joey Wendell is at absolute best a guy that's going to slap the ball opposite field a couple times a game, and then exemplify some defense that's still probably going to be underwhelming for you. So Mike Brousseau, that is the latest minor league pickup for the Mets. Longtime connection between himself there and the Milwaukee Brewers. So be on the lookout for that. Don't be shocked if Brousseau is up here at any point in the near future. Exactly, Daniel. Great member. Hit the nail on the head. It's because he's a Stearns guy, 100%. I wouldn't say it's nepotism because it's not like it's family or anything, but knowing that they had their connection during their time in Milwaukee, 1000% went in hand with the decision making that David made today, and also looking for a guy that could potentially impact the team if need be in a utility role, not named Zach Short, not named Joey Wendell, and more than likely not named Jose Iglesias, because as much as Iglesias looked great in spring, there's a reason why he's more of a mainstay at the minor league level at this point in his career than even being, what many would consider, a true bench option for you. That's kind of where things stand with Iglesias and the organization until things are proven otherwise, everybody. But now let's break down the game. Thank you so much for the kind words, Rose. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Everyone first chiming in live on our replay. Happy to have you all in here as we break down the latest in Mets land as the Metropolitans today win by a final score of 4-2. And now we're about to break down all the key tidbits, what you need to know from tonight's game in particular, what was the biggest standouts here. But before I do that, I just want to thank you all again to everyone chiming in live on a replay. But now let's break it down inning by inning. Okay, folks. Let's get into this one. Again, fantastic pitching by the Mets once again. Yes, the walk rate continues to be a problem with Sean Manaea, who had over 5 walks per 9 entering tonight's game. That needs to be worked on heavily. That is far and away his biggest bugaboo right now in this rotation for the Mets. Can you explain what a membership does? I've seen people giving them away. AC, thank you so much. So memberships, the one thing that I still need to fix on them is the emojis, but basically memberships is just an awesome way to help support the channel pretty much. So by having memberships, you guys will get, of course, shouted out as consistently as possible in our live shows especially. Basically, you guys have the upper hand versus the average viewer when it comes to shoutouts, interaction, and of course there I try to provide emojis and other things. I just need to update the emojis because for whatever reason, the last 2 times I've done it there on YouTube, it hasn't processed, it hasn't went through when I've tried changing the emojis, because you can use Lindor face and Alonso face probably, but there's still Buck in there, there's Scherzer, there's guys that aren't on the roster that you don't need to use, so I still need to upgrade them. But it's just an easy way to help support the channel where you pay a small monthly fee and it gives back and helps to support us with us to do this as our full-time thing. So that's it in a nutshell. And again, I appreciate every one of my members that went out of their way to sign up, and thank you guys all so much for that. And shout out to all the gifted members in the chat too that we've seen of recent on the channel too. That's been awesome. Yoshima with the 1 gifted, as you see there, Alan Gonzalez, congratulations, you're now a new member on the channel. Thank you so much for that, Yoshima. Really does mean a lot. Thank you once more. Wardy, you are the man, and LGM forever. But damn, our Knicks, bro. I know know. I'm going to that Knicks game in Philly, game 4. Game 6. Your boy's going to represent. I'm going to be in the nosebleeds. I may very well either get my teeth knocked out or things are going to go in favor because of Knicks fans taking over Philly. Hopefully it's the latter, but until then, it's going to be an interesting one to follow. Thursday, I will be in Philly at that Knicks game, and I cannot wait, folks. And guys and gals, help us get to 100 likes in case we haven't hit there already, or help us get close to. Thank you all so much. But enough of me rambling, folks. Can we please break down the ball game now? I know there's always updates and stuff I want to get into, but let's start breaking it down now. All right, in the first, Francisco Lindor with the single. Then Lindor is picked off, but ultimately gets to third base on a throwing error. Leave it to Lindor to somehow get on base with a single, get picked off, but the pickoff, then the throw to try to get him out at second. Wales, it doesn't happen. He gets all the way to third with these, and that ultimately scores a run as Pete Alonso drives him in with the quick RBI sac fly, and just like that, the Mets have a 1-0 lead there in the top of the first against a fantastic young right-hander and Javier Assad, who certainly didn't look bad at all today against these Mets. But again, what pitcher has looked terrible against the Mets? Not a lot of them, at least. JD Martinez with a single, an infield single there. McNeil with a single, but the Mets would not convert anymore. So again, they are up 1-0 in the top of the first. Dave Kaplitz, great member of 18 months. Thank you, my man. Again, we're hopefully going to try to make that happen. We didn't even run the jingle yet, again, because of how much that we've just been rolling with the show, everybody. So I'll run the jingle now, and then we'll continue on with the game breakdown. Apologies, folks. Again, it's rambling. We got a lot to talk about. I got some exciting stuff with my sponsors to share with you all. We still got more of a game breakdown. But before I do that, let's hear the official WardyNYM post-game jingle. Shout out, as always, to my man Jordan and Greg for the amazing jingle. Now I'll top back into this one after amazing victory. Again, the Mets are one game above 500 at 15-14 through their first 29 games of the season. Game 30 kicks off tomorrow with a man that I'm very much not looking forward to facing, but absolutely admire, a guy I would have loved this offseason, Shota Imanaga. Big challenge tomorrow against the crafty Southpaw, who's been off to a roaring start to kick off his MLB career, coming over from the MPB. But before we get there, let's talk more about this ballgame, what happened, right? Because as we then get to the second, we see Swanson with a walk, Tauchman with a single, Madrigal with a walk, and Amaya, I might be butchering the last name, the catcher there for the Cubs today, with an RBI sac fly, ties the ball game early. So again, through 2, it's a 1-1 tied ball game. And the bottom of the second, Brett Beatty with his first single of the day. Then we see there in the top of the third, Ian Happ gets on via walk, Morel with the single, but thankfully Shamania works out of that jam. Then as we advance to the top of the fourth, Shamania with one of, I believe, the only 1-2-3 inning he had tonight. And then as we get to the top of the fifth, Canario with a single for the Cubs. That's all she wrote, and that takes us, folks, to the final line of Shamania tonight. Again, if it wasn't for those walks, he was looking fantastic yet again. Again, keeping the Mets in this ball game. Shamania's final line is as follows, folks. 5 innings of 3 hit, 1 earned run ball, 4 walks, 3 strikeouts, a 3.07 ERA on the season for Mr. Shamania. I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, everybody, let me know in the chat, where would you rank Shamania this far with his start? If you had to give a rating, personally, the 5 innings is what frustrates me. I'm going to give Shamania a solid 7 out of 10 today. The bar is fairly low when it comes to getting length from these starters. It was awesome to see both Quintana and Sevy go 8 innings for the Mets, but we lost one of those games, and the game we won was without even Quintana being anointed a win because we had to get in a walk-off heroic fashion by a guy who isn't even on the roster now that we decided to send down today, and Mark Vientos of the opposite field 2-run home run in the 11th inning 48 hours ago or so. So that's a little frustrating to say the least, but still, pitching-wise, while the length wasn't there today, the effectiveness was certainly there from Shamania, who again held his own, and this is pretty much what you're going to get with Sean. He's very much a guy that you're hoping to get anywhere from 5, 6, at best 7 innings out of, but a guy that can be utilized out of the pen 2 out of the course of the 162. I liked his arsenal tonight quite a bit, but again, of course, those 4 walks are brutal. They are killers, and walks is ultimately why, again, in part, this Mets game was as close as what it was. We've just seen seen this time and time again where a walk comes back to bite the Mets in the ass, or, just overall having a tremendous walk rate, something that needs to be worked on. You look so far this season, Sean Manaea's walk rate is not nearly where the Mets would like it to be. Thankfully, there's a lot of baseball to be played still, but Sean Manaea right now, it was good enough. I would agree. It was a good enough start. He did what he needed to do, but again, I would love to see him, hopefully sooner than later, give us more outings where he can go 6 innings, because if you take 2 of those walks away, he probably can go 6 innings for the Mets tonight. Still, though, not much to complain about. And then the bullpen from there just did a phenomenal job, everybody. I said this when I was on Sal Licata's WFAN Daily Podcast a week and a half ago now. When asked what is the Mets' biggest stronghold, what is the thing that I think that will be the most consistent with them all season long, what's their true backbone? I've said it time and time again. I'll say it again, folks. It is 1,000% this bullpen. This bullpen is absolutely disgusting. We're going to talk about Sean Reed-Foley. Trust me, we're going to get there shortly. And actually, to expand more on pitching, I want to give a massive shout out to my great friend. Let's see here. I'm going to give a massive shout out to my great friend on the channel, Isaac Groffman. You guys can follow him on Twitter. Is fantastic with pitching analysis. He will deep dive any and every Mets prospect that you could think of, and he does a fantastic job at it. Has a great understanding of the newfound information when deep diving pitching analytics and, getting into the numbers a bit more. And he has our pitching analysis that we're going to break down today. What were the key standouts with Sean Manaea? It is as follows, everybody. The pitch usage, the sinker, 4-seam around 53%. The changeup was around 27%. The sweeper was 11%. And the cutter was 8%. Of course, that information is available for you all, should you wish, per Baseball Savant. We saw there the velo and the spin was down across the board today, but the effectiveness was still there for Sean Manaea. But it's still something to make note of, that the velo, again, was a little down tonight in this start. The fastballs were often too high, and hitters were not swinging at them, is what we noticed in this one. And then started pitching better as the game went on, of course. He was able to put fastballs in the zone. He was unable, however, to get whiffs on that sweeper today. That was one of the newer pitches in his arsenal that he's worked with Driveline over the past year. That was in part why the Mets signed him. When that sweeper is effective, especially lefty on lefty, it can be a deadly thing. But right now, today at least, it wasn't in his favor, but thankfully it didn't hurt him too much. He didn't use the cutter as much as he's done in the past with his starts, but thankfully, again, it didn't hurt him all that much. The changeup was the main strikeout pitch that we saw from Sean Manaea today, but he did have a hard time controlling it overall. And, it was a gutty performance here for Sean Manaea, to say the least. This was an outing, again, the Mets needed quality. Even if you're not going to get length, at least give us quality to a degree while you're out there, whether it's 4, 5, 6 innings, whatever it may be. Just keep the Mets in said ball game, and overall, he did exactly that. So, my man, Isaac, has a rating right now at B for Sean Manaea's start today. Me personally, I'm going to go with the B as well. I think that's very fair for him. I'm not going to go A level at all, but I think B is very solid. I wouldn't go B minus, I wouldn't go B plus. I think B is just right. So as you guys gave the ratings, say 1 through 10 in the chat, if I'm going to give a rating, say 1 through 10, a B for me, I'm going to probably have him again. I think I said 7. I said 7 out of 10. I think that's very fair for Sean Manaea and the start that we saw from him. But you want to know what was absolutely tremendous tonight, guys? It was, as I mentioned already, it was this bullpen. This bullpen did wonders, folks, because as we would see there, later on the ball game, with 2 outs, Nimmo had himself a single in the bottom of the 5th. That's all she wrote. In the 6th, Sean Reed-Foley comes in. SRF allows a walk and a stolen base, but that's all she wrote there to a Christopher Morel, who was, of course, the hero for the Cubs yesterday. And SRF, a little bit on him. He was missing a little too high with the fastball at first, but he got it under control and got some massive outs. He only threw 1 slider all inning long there that we saw in the 6th inning. SRF topped out on 96 on the heater today. And I told you guys this. Sean Reed-Foley is going to surprise some people. He's going to eat innings for the Mets. And how Reed Garrett is becoming the best thing since sliced bread in this bullpen? Well, Sean Reed-Foley is another multi-innings eater type option for them, who does have some quality stuff in his arsenal. And we all know how much David Stearns loves guys in this bullpen that give you variation, that give you different looks. So you're not getting a lot of the same arm slots, and that your type of pitch usage is certainly different. That is what David Stearns looks for. And SRF now, and a solid amount of innings thus far, he has himself a 0 ERA to this point. So a lot of love, a lot of hype to go with Sean Reed-Foley with the way that he's been pitching, folks, and expand on the pitching more here as we got into Reed Garrett. Reed Garrett, of course, had himself a scoreless inning. He allowed 1 walk, but that's all she wrote in the 7th. Reed Garrett is doing the typical Reed Garrett stuff. The splitty and the sweeper were once again elite. The splitty was also at a 70.4 whip percentage on the year right now, and the cutter is also looking fantastic that we saw tonight. But to have a 70.4 whip percentage on it this year is unbelievable. That is the big difference maker with Mr. Reed Garrett. He went from having that four-seam fastball as one of his top pitches to now it's like the third, fourth pitch in his arsenal. That splitty and the sweeper, they're right up there. The slide piece and the splitty are his 1-2 punch, and that splitter is quite literally unhittable right now. He still has a Caper 9 right now. Unbelievable. I mean, if you look at it in percentage, it's probably, after today's outing, I'd imagine it's probably 45th. You know, if I had to say 45% of the time he's striking out batters, he was 47% entering tonight's game, had a strikeout as well, faced 4 batters. So Reed Garrett just looking absolutely nasty. I'm loving everything about him. And they know the man that's been absolutely balling out in this bullpen all season long, that I feel like very little people are talking about, because you have Edwin Diaz back, because you have Reed Garrett balling out up until he's been now down with injury on the IL, but he will be back soon, and Brooks Raley, same applies. But let's talk about Adam Ottavino, everybody. We all heavily criticized Adam Ottavino last season. I will be the first to tell you that in his first year with the Mets in 2022, I would live and die for that man. I would catch a bullet for him. I was doing everything and anything to defend Adam Ottavino the best way I possibly could, because I had a lot of faith of him in this bullpen. Last season, Adam Ottavino being overworked, back-to-back days, could not handle it whatsoever. He was not the same guy that we have known, loved, and coveted. The walk rates were up. This year, Adam Ottavino is not only looking fantastic with his overall game, but the strikeouts as well have significantly skyrocketed through the first month of the season versus previous first months in years past. We've seen with Adam Ottavino. We know he has that nasty sweeper, but his ability to command the zone as well as he had, using that sinker effectively to get those ground balls, has been absolutely massive. That pitch averages 17 inches of horizontal movement, which is absolutely incredible. Shout out again to my man Isaac for the info here, because again, those inches and the horizontal movement, those are quick things that maybe I'm going to miss after just doing the eye test throughout the game. So the advanced information certainly helps a bit. And then we have their Jorge Lopez getting the job done in the 9th for the Mets. Of course, their Tauchman would have himself a double, and then a ground up by, I believe, Amaya would drive in the second run of the game for the Cubs. That's all she wrote, though. Lopez was effective again with his nasty sinker that we've seen plenty this season. And you look at the ERAs with these guys, again, they're just inducing a lot of soft ground outs. They're inducing some pop-up flyouts too. They're just getting the job done, everybody. So yes, while you can look at the rotation to an extent, while you can look at the offense, there is nothing, in my opinion, that is more sustainable this season with how this roster is currently constructed than, yes, this Metropolitan bullpen. I will stick with those words for the time being. There are multiple arms in AAA that the Mets can tap into at their whim when they wish, and there's also guys available that, again, say via trade or off the waiver wire, that you can, of course, make things happen with. So David Stearns, what he is most notorious for is building a strong bullpen and a pitching staff, and so far this season, he is proving right before our very eyes what is his strong suit and why exactly is he one of the most young, exciting executives in the game of baseball today. 1200, no way SRF blows. We need the great Trevor May. I love me some Trevor May, and I know you do too, 1200. Wink, wink. I appreciate the love. Thank you for the donation. Sean Reed-Foley's not as bad as you think, folks. You just got to make sure you utilize these guys properly. Very Metsian choke job by the Knicks. It was, to an extent, yes, especially when you're up, 6 with like 30 seconds to play. I thought they had in the bag. I almost tweeted, awesome win for the Knicks, but I held back because I knew that nothing was certain on that front until the game was actually over, and unfortunately they lost. But again, for my Knicks fans just chiming in, I will be in attendance again to this Thursday's game, Game 6 in Philly. Got the nosebleed tickets that jumped the price by almost $100 in the span of 10 minutes, but we're going to be there. We're riding high, very excited. First time experiencing playoff basketball in my life, and it's probably going to be one of the most intense sporting experiences I ever have as a fan, and trust me when I tell you, I simply cannot wait. So that'll be happening Thursday evening. Cannot wait for that. But the Knicks need to close it out at home in Philly, and yes, you heard that correctly, at home in Philly, our second garden, essentially, even though it's anything but MSG there at Wells Fargo Center. Fine arena, but again, it's like comparing apples and oranges. They're just not the same thing. It's like comparing Costco to Dollar Tree. They're not in the same class here, right? But very excited for that. But the Mets again go on to win by a final score of 4-2. And this is all headlined by that DJ Stewart home run, everybody. If I didn't mention it already, let me go actually double check, because that was back in the 6th. I don't know why I may have missed that. Because again, JD Martinez reached on a Swanson error that we saw there. Taylor then with the single, and then with 2 outs, DJ Stewart rips a no-doubt 3-run piss missile to right to give the Mets the 4-1 lead, and the Mets ultimately win by a final score of 4-2. Everybody, we've had a lot of criticisms with DJ Stewart so far this season. So I really want to ask you all shortly your thoughts on DJ Stewart and his impact on the Mets so far, because man, oh man, I've said it a lot and I'll say it again. He's giving me such heavy, and I mean such heavy, Kyle Schwarber vibes. It's not even funny. He's our Walmart Kyle Schwarber. He's going to hit just above 200. The OPS is going to be north of 900, and he's going to get on base at a good clip. And you know what? I'm fine with that. DJ handled his own today as well, that we saw there in right field. And when you take a look at the Mets offense as a whole today, everybody, check it out with me. As you see here, a bunch of zeros. But again, the Mets had 7 hits to the Cubs 4, a 278 expected batting average to a 174 there of Chicago. Brandon Nimmo was 1 for 4 tonight that we saw there. 208 average, 708 OPS now on the season for Brandon. Francisco Lindor was 1 for 4 with that run scored, a 197 average, a 639 OPS. Pete Alonso 0 for 3 tonight, 234 average, 800 OPS. JD Martinez 1 for 4 with a run scored, a 294 average, and a 647 OPS. Chad McNeil batting 5th, 1 for 3 with a 247 average and a 670 OPS. Tyrone Taylor 1 for 4 with a run scored, 277 average and a 719 OPS. DJ Stewart, as we just mentioned, with a 3-run ding-dong, 208 average, 849 OPS, right on par. Brett Beatty 1 for 3, 256 average, 633 OPS, and Omar Narvaez a whole lot of nothing. At least Omar wasn't a massive problem defensively today, but I do have to wonder a little bit on his frame jobs how much different would they have been if Tomas Nido was catching Sean Manaea today. But we're never going to know now. So maybe next time he's out there, if he gets Nido versus Narvaez, we'll have that discussion. Narvaez 0 for 3, 162 average, 421 OPS. I don't want to hear the nonsense about Omar Narvaez. Oh, you got to have him in there because he's such a better bat than Nido. Says who? Says who? He's not a better bat than Nido, significantly at least. Yes, do I have more faith in Narvaez and consistent at bats to get on base versus Nido? I do, but the way Nito's been swinging the bat and the way his eyesight has been, I got a level of confidence in Tomas Nido to do what he needs to do. And all I care about is great game calling from these catchers until Francisco Alvarez is back. That is the most important thing. The offense, if you're relying on your catcher for offense right now, you have major problems on your hands. And right now, unfortunately, the Mets do have some major offensive problems. They have major holes right now. They pretty much the past week, they have played this lackadaisical, low offensive ball. And I want to see this 12-3 run team again. I don't know when we're going to see the Mets go on any type of run like that. And as I said earlier on this season, folks, that might be the best run the Mets have all season long. So again, enjoy these while they happen, because nothing is guaranteed in a 162. The only thing that is guaranteed, however, is knowing that you're going to have your highs, your lows, and everything in between. It's a roller coaster. Welcome to New York Metropolitan Baseball in 2024, folks. That's where we find ourselves. Let's see. There's something up with Alonso and his future. I mean, the only future with Alonso is, again, if he's going to be in the organization or not. But we'll get to that, of course, when we get to the offseason, if not the trade deadline. I will be beyond shocked if Alonso's traded by the trade deadline, even if the Mets aren't in a position to be full-on buyers. And I stand by that. I really do. But as you see, a lot of you guys, thank you all so much for chiming in live on a replay. As we're breaking down the latest in Mets land, as the Mets go on to win tonight by a final score of 4-2, thanks to DJ Stewart hitting DJ Stewart piss missiles to right. The Teddy Bear is doing it all, folks. And as we now get into our amazing sponsor tonight, we're going to be drafting our team together with our awesome friends here at Sorare MLB. For those that don't know Sorare MLB, everybody, you can click the link down below to sign up today. You better listen up, because Sorare MLB is the best MLB fantasy game out there. And think of MLB The Show in simple terms, where you can buy, sell, trade, and collect your cards for real dollars on demand. Yes, you heard that correctly. You enter weekly tournaments with the teams that you build with these awesome cards, and just like any other card collector, you can enjoy the designs of them. They're unique to you, but ultimately how you perform in these tournaments each week is based on how the players perform in real life. So if you had DJ Stewart on your squad tonight in a tournament, you had some nice points there. And of course, the points vary based on how rare or common, uncommon your card is. So you know how there are tiers in MLB The Show show in other games where if, say, your card, you know, is rare, of course, or it's a certain type of status, it's an overall, naturally you're going to get better production out of them when they perform well at the MLB level. Well, it's similar to that in Sorare MLB, whereas if you have a common card versus, say, a really rare card, the rare card, the percentages on the points is times, it's a multiplier higher versus what the common cards will be. So again, there's some incentive to really upgrade your cards throughout the game and have fun with it. And today, guys, we're going to be giving away, on May 6th, we'll be announcing the winners. We're going to be giving away 2 Mets tickets to 3 different amazing Mets fans that sign up to Sorare MLB by clicking the link down below today and entering a common tournament. Again, you guys do not need to enter a tournament where you actually have to spend dollars to build your team. Just enter the first common tournament you can. Because the tournaments have already started this week, they started yesterday before our show. That's why I couldn't draft my team then. I'm going to draft one now, but with cards I already have that are beyond the common tier. So I'm going to show you here in a second, and also show you guys again what you have to do, which is by simply clicking the link down below to sign up today. You can play on your phone with our app, which is so easy to utilize to play, enter your weekly tournaments, buy, sell, and trade your cards. And again, we will be randomly picking 3 people to win 2 Mets tickets each this week, May 6th, and we're going to be picking one person, one lucky winner, to win $100 in the game's credit that you guys can buy whatever you want. But we're going to build our team for the week, folks, so let's do exactly that, as you guys and gals can see together here, and I might be cut off here briefly, but okay, so to my left, which you guys can't see, I do have my different pitchers, and we also tells you when you have your probable pitchers. So I have Logan Gilbert and George Kirby. I'm spoiled. This is from the team I built last year while working with Sorare MLB, so I'm going to put Logan Gilbert there. This is an outdated card by a couple of years, so you see how it's on the bonus level, it's at plus 3%. So again, depending on the card status will depend on the type of bonus level you get with the points, and of course the points go in hand with how great your pitcher does start wise, how many runs he gives up. For hitters, the same applies with home runs, hits, all those things. Tanner Scott, I'm going to put in there as my reliever. Brett Beatty, I'm going to put in at the hot corner. Actually, I love you, Brett, but I'm actually going to go with Mr. Alex Bregman, just because Alex Bregman just hit his first home run of the season. I'm actually going to update this real quick for you all too, so you guys can properly see what I'm doing here at the moment. Just give me 1 second, folks. Let's see here. So if I shift this a little bit more this way, there you go. That should be easier for you guys to see. So as you guys can see, I got Alex Bregman on the squad. There's Tanner Scott. Now I'm going to, for catcher, I got Adley Rutschman, Jonah Heim, and Cal Riley. A lot of awesome options. I'm going with Adley there. For the outfield, I got Mr. Adolis Garcia. And then to wrap things up here, I'm going to throw in Jonah Heim as an additional hitter. And for the pitcher, I'm going to go with the flex there and Mr. George Kirby. So that is my lineup. That is what I'm going to be using for this first tournament that I'm entering. These tournaments last a couple days each, folks. So again, when you play, there is on average 2 tournaments every week or so. So make sure you guys get in, enter in time, because there are deadlines to enter, because then you have to wait a couple days. But that is a squad that I'm going to be rocking with for Sorare MLB for my first tournament of the year. And to everyone that signs up, again, I wish you all the best of luck. Make sure you click the link down below today, again, for your chance to win those free Mets tickets to whatever game you want to go to this season. And as always, shout out to Sorare MLB, everybody. But as we get back into this one, I can't believe you wanted to criticize the literal 9th hitter and call the bum hitting excellent player. Priest, stop playing this game with me. We do this every single day. You know what you're doing here. And stop it. Let's see. Parada has not played for us at the MLB level, and that's what you're referring to. And Kevin Parada, of course, is a Mets catching prospect, as in the minor leagues. The Mets are not going to rush him up by any stretch whatsoever. Kevin Parada is really going to need to do some significant things to hit the bigs this year, with Alvarez being out with injury. For the time being, it's more than likely going to stay stagnant, as is with Omar Narvaez, and of course there that we've seen Tomas Nido. And I'm very much a Tomas Nido guy with the way that he's been playing. I care so much about his defensive upside. I care just as much, if not more, about just his ability to, again, call a ball game properly. Make sure that you're on the right rhythm and on the right path with these starters and these relievers. It makes a difference. And Omar Narvaez is a net negative defensive and offensive player right now. I'd much rather a guy that, even if he's going to be net negative offensively, I know that defensively he's not going to be in that mix, which is why, again, I want him playing every 2 out of 3 days. Parada's not looking great. Moved down in prospect rankings. Yeah, Kevin Parada, the big issue with Kevin Parada, folks, is he was a swing-happy batter there at Georgia Tech. He carried himself in college because of his offensive contribution. It was never about crazy high upside defensively with Kevin Parada, at least at that age. It was about the bat carrying him. Since arriving at the professional level, Kevin Parada has faced some significant slumps and some significant holes there to be a comfortable everyday minor league player as he's continuing to develop. So again, what was initially a top pick by the Mets a couple years ago still has potential, do not get me wrong, but there are some hurdles in the road there when evaluating Kevin Parada and his game. And right now, he's far from being at the major league level, I would personally say. So don't get your hopes up on anything beyond a Tomas Nido or Omar Narvaez commanding the catching spot until Francisco Alvarez returns from injury, everybody. But we talked about one sponsor. Now let's talk briefly about another, everybody. So I did tell you, in case you're first chiming in again, in our pregame show today, I am now in a line to go 4 for 4 on Wardy's 4-pick parlay today. I just want to share with you all again what exactly that is in case you're wondering or in case what's going on. And of course, guys and gals, make sure you bet responsibly. Never want anyone to sports bet where they don't know what they're getting themselves into. Make sure you're smart with your money, of course, but make sure you're doing it with our amazing sponsor here at BetUS. And as you guys can see with the slates right now, the Minnesota Twins in the 9th inning are up 6-5. I have the Twins money line tonight. Hopefully that stays intact there. I also have the Philadelphia Phillies money line against the Los Angeles Angels. That didn't hit yesterday. The Phillies lost 6-5. I doubled up. I hammered it again today. They're up 3-1 there in the 4th. We'll take that. My third out of the 4 picks today was the Baltimore Orioles run line at +1. Was it +1.5? I think -150 or so on the odds. That hammered. Orioles won outright there against the Yankees 4-2. Even when they didn't have the favorable pitching matchup, didn't matter because the Orioles shut them down and those bats did what they needed to do. Love me some O's, baby. They have been an absolute wagon. And last but not least, the final team that is not showing here because their game has concluded because they have won, the Milwaukee Brewers beat up on the Tampa Bay Rays with ease. And as I said in my pregame show today, expect Freddie Peralta to carve up those batters, folks. So now, as we look back just over the past 24 hours of parlay play, I have now went 6 for 8 on my overall betting picks. So yesterday, we went 2 out of 4, which is why I told you guys, again, be smart about what you tail and what you don't. There were 2 picks that I felt confident in. One of the 2 didn't hit. Again, it was by 1 run, and the other 2 did hit. So we saw there, and tonight, we're in line for all 4 to hit. So again, guys, make sure you bet responsible. 4-leg parlays are not going to hit consistently. I'm telling you that right now, but it looks like they're going to hit tonight. We're gladly going to take those winnings. So make sure you guys and gals check out BetUS today. Check them out in our pregame coverage that we're coming out with you consistently now. And we're going to be having an awesome special guest, actually. I'm a host for our pregame coverage tomorrow, more than likely, barring any changes. So be on the lookout for that. But again, check out BetUS for all your sports betting needs and make sure you bet responsibly. Now, as we get back to this one, everybody, let's see here. Then you just said it, not perfect. So unless you can do it better, stop knocking them. Oh, okay. We're just talking about Lindor with the back-to-back. For those that don't know, Priest is a big supporter on the channel. He's very much not a Lindor lover, and the more that Lindor struggles, the more that he's going to voice his opinions with said struggles. And I'm all for voicing opinions, but there's definitely a way to go about it, and he knows he's going about it in a certain manner. But everybody, that is about going to wrap up the live show. I want to thank you all so much for watching. I really want to get live callers up and going, but the only issue is we haven't seen the kind of entertaining baseball yet outside from that 12-3 stretch. I just didn't have things set up yet, unfortunately. I really want to get these live callers going. I really want to do a watch party or 2 in the coming weeks. So hopefully we're going to get all those things figured out and set up for you. It's still early on the season. You know, we're just a month into the year now. The Mets are above 500 throughout their first month of the season, so we'll take those small wins as they come, right? Thank you very much. Mets above 500. Let's be above 500 every month, baby, especially with a very favorable schedule. Not coming in May, but starting in June. The Mets definitely, as things currently stand, have a schedule they can take advantage of, but whether they will or not, again, is yet to be seen. But that's going to do it for me, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching live on a replay. The Mets win this one 4-2, headlined by DJ Stewart, doing what DJ Stewart does best, and that's ripping nukes to right. Until then, everybody, until tomorrow's game against Shota Imanaga, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your night, day, evening. Whenever you're watching this, stay tuned for our consistent pre- and post-game coverage here on the WardyNYM platform. I'll see you guys and gals again real soon.